bum 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 bum
Drama.
bum. Ba-ba-da-ba, dun,
Action.
dun, 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 ba-dum, bam, bam,
Comedy.
ba-dum, tss, bum, ba-dun, dun, 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 dun,
Palace
dun, 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 dun,
intrigue.
dun, 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 dun,
Story
dun, bum, bum,
Squad
boom,
presents
dun, dun,
Clash
dun,
of the
dun, 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 dun.
Pencils. Woo! Here we are tonight on a fall 26 evening in Milford, Delaware. We have some great stories tonight. A really epic battle shaping up this week between our top three contenders, Slice, Joanna Man, and Champion. Now all three repeating in the winner's circle for tonight after last night. It's certainly going to be epic, folks. So welcome back to the Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream, the most watched creative writing esport league live stream in the history of the internet. I'm your host, Tom Sherman, and we're here as we are every weeknight to review the top three Clash of the Pencil submissions from around the net, get the latest scores, see who's atop the leaderboard, and of course, check out the top 5 sentences of the day. So, before we get started here, let's remind the folks what everyone's playing for tonight. Besides obviously fame and glory, and it's this bad boy right here. This is the an exclusive IOU NFT. This unique 1 out of 10,000 NFT is actually an IOU for a future NFT from a different upcoming 10,000 NFT drop from Story Squad. So, although its current estimated cash value of the NFT is $100, that's not really the entire full value of NFTs. So, I've been asked by a few people to just kind of give a little crash course what this could be. So, these are all here are NFTs currently listed on a marketplace. And here's think of NFTs kind of like the keys to the future. All right. Right now, as humans, we interact with businesses and organizations much like ants might their queen, slaving away for resources in order to give them to the queen. NFTs turn this one directional relationship into more of a community partnership. Owning NFTs of organizations will allow those owners special perks like early access to future products, exclusive content behind paywalls, and access to the inner community. Not only that, but NFTs are transferable, allowing owners to sell them at a premium, which in turn appreciate all the other NFTs held by community members. So if you think about it, NFTs are part art, part online identity, part admission to a virtual country club, part crypto speculation, and part generational wealth, and all real, baby. So, anyways, that's what we're playing for tonight. Where every day we field anywhere between zeros and tens of submissions, which then get run through high-tech computer Storybot 3000, which, among other things, uses spreadsheet data from McDonald's corporate offices to analyze every story. We then take Storybot's top 3 stories and let you, the public, vote on them to determine tonight's winner. So alongside me tonight, we've got Greg the Leg Peterson. Why do they call you the Leg?
Well, I'm always trying to get a leg up on the competition. Eager to see how we're going to hack it together tonight, Tom.
Right you are, Greg. So before we get underway, let's take a look actually at the current leaderboard. Let me pull this up real quick for the folks at home. Slice and Joanna Man, epic, tied at 280 points apiece. Champion right there with 150. Sar Blue 7788, and the Doctor not far behind either. Big matchup here tonight, Greg.
Big matchup. Anybody's week. Anybody's week.
And yeah, anybody's week, and at the midpoint of the week. So, after tonight, it's kind of all downhill. This is really the last chance people have to kind of cement a flag and try to build that lead up to make it insurmountable, if you will. He will. That's our current picture. Let's head over to the writing prompt, see what the writers had to work with today. 2 kids build a robot to fight crime. What's interesting here, Leg, is the prompt. It has the plot and the characters built into it. So really, the heavy lifting the authors are going to have to do today are the setting of where these kids and robots are fighting crime.
Yeah, only two kids, not 3, not 1, 2 kids.
Right. Yeah. Specific character prompts, specific plot line, unspecified setting. So there's certainly a lot of room for the players to run with today. Let's see what Storybot's favorite 3 were. The first one is coming in from Joanna Man, and let's take a look. Violation! The teacher yelled at the student. How do you continue to confuse effect with effect after we studied the difference last month? Mr. Rogerson was clearly fed up. Earlier in the morning, he had exhibited greater patience with Joanne, who continued to misspell dessert and instead described the arid, sandy, barren landscape. Mr. Rogerson had become more irritable after Arthur Jones argued with him about distinguishing between complimentary and complimentary, and when Grant Svoka had challenged him to a spell-off. Once class was over, Mr. Rogerson grabbed his briefcase and coffee mug and left the classroom before some of the last loitering students. He hopped into his Subaru Outback and beelined to his home. Within minutes, Mr. Rogerson was sitting in front of his 2 screens and logged into Slack. Ooh, ooh, he cried. I am here to save the world from crimes against the humanities. Mr. Rogerson had been working with a team of developers based in Pakistan to develop a robot they called Storybot 3000. Mr. Rogerson had rushed home to hopefully exchange some pleasantries and get an update on the progress from the Pakistani team. Mr. Rogerson would message his team using improper grammar and intentional misspellings. Team, how is you today? He was usually more creative, but he was rushed and still had a hangover from today's class. An automatic response popped up instantaneously. Storybot 3000 here to save the day. You have used an incorrect conjugation. How are you today is the correct usage. Mr. Rogerson took a deep sigh, fist bumped the air, and loosened his tie. Okay, so we have a disgruntled teacher, tired of the English language and possibly his profession, and works by night with a team in Pakistan to build a grammar police robot, which on this night correctly detects improper conjugation, which is just enough success for Mr. Rogerson to hang on for one more day.
It was very interesting how the language and the robot, like, it seemed like Mr. Rogerson was really struggling with homonyms and the frustration over the precision of language. I feel like there's a kind of militant grammarian, a militant grammar police that deep in this soul. And the fact that he can't effectively communicate that in class, he's so frustrated that he's now trying to kind of take this, I don't know, enforcement and build the crimes here were crimes against the humanities, which I thought was an interesting thing. But there might be a bit of a conflation here between the humanities, which is the study of history, philosophy, religion, and literature, with strict grammatical compliance.
Yeah, I did enjoy that the character, you could sense his pain and the frustration, clear motivation as to why he's spending his off hours working on this robot. I thought the plot hole, though, was in this team in Pakistan developing an English grammar robot. That seems ripe for even more issues than he has teaching in his class. You know, you're working with a language barrier and with a team halfway around the world. If he can't properly teach effect and effect in person to a student, how is he going to get this programmed through a robot halfway around the world? Left some questions for me. I do think he had a strong character. I enjoyed the character. The plot it was kind of there. And my take on the setting was I didn't really get much on the setting. He was in a school, he was in a home. Sure, he had 2 screens, but I didn't know where this school was located. I didn't know what any of it looked like. I thought the setting was probably one of the weakest parts of the story. What say you?
The Subaru Outback was a pretty precise teacher detail.
Mhm.
Like that. Yeah, I would say the one thing that made me interested was that it mentioned a story bot, and it was almost a little bit meta in trying to kind of deconstruct what if Storybot is reading this. It almost felt like some sort of appeasement to an origin story.
It's true. You would think Storybot, that is one of the reasons why Storybot enjoyed this one so much. There is something to that. As per the Subaru detail, I think that's more in the character realm. That's not necessarily the setting. That's it's that is developing out that teacher character and reinforcing some of those stereotypes, prototypical archetypes of a teacher.
A frustrated teacher. Tom.
A frustrated teacher. I mean, again, I think you're on board with me. This was a strong sort of character driven event, right? I mean, what did you think about the plot in the setting?
I question the plot. I want to know, was the satisfaction at the end? If it's about 2 kids fighting crime, and the crimes were against the humanities, is that really just like correcting team how is you doing today to team how are you doing? That singular plural. Is that really a crime if it happens on is ungrammatical language on Slack across the like an international divide? Is that really such a crime?
That's fair. I really can't answer that, but I do think it's what it said to me was kind of like this guy is hanging on by a thread.
Hanging on by a thread.
You know what I mean? Like,
definitely empathize with that. Yeah, I know that feeling.
He's on the edge of edges. So like that's all he needed is just one little success of changing the conjugation.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Sometimes that's all it takes. And we'll just have to see if Juana Man has what it takes to overcome the other current leader on the weekly leaderboard, Slice, who sent in this story to Storybot 3000. A robin egg-haired girl skidded into a driveway, her bike helmet latched to her backpack. She rap-tat-bat-da-dap-tap, slap, finger rolled on the garage door, and it whipped open. "Hurry up, get in," the girl inside whispered. "The cul-de-sac is up." "What did you bring?" "I got," the robin started, dumping the content of her backpack on the workbench, "some batteries, speaker wires, magnets, things that keep books up. They're metal, right? Thought they could help. And some Ritz in case it gets hungry." "Robots don't eat, Emily," the girl said, low and sharply, her chin sunken as she tightened a nut on the project. She stopped to push her glasses up with the outside of her wrist. "Well, maybe just crime." She smirked for a second and dropped her head back down. "This'll teach those boys to take stuff from our lockers again," Emily said. The 2 girls tinkered on the robot for the rest of the morning. They took a break for lunch and several for TikToks. They had constructed the exoskeleton from parts of a drone, grandfather clock, typewriter, and a train set. Batteries breathed life into the system, and its face was an iPhone. They turned the robot on, and the sharp girl named it Pocket. After 6 hours of work, they rested. They plotted to pop Pocket in Emily's locker early Monday morning. Sharp had programmed a message, and facial recognition was, of course, standard on her iPhone. During third period on Monday, Evan Eden slid open Emily's locker, triggering Pocket to jostle and stir. "Hi," Pocket hissed loudly, causing Evan to stutter rumble backwards and into the lockers behind him as if bitten. "Bloop-e-bloop. Evan Eden, we're calling your mom. Thanks for breaking in. Skeety-froop. Bye." Against the wall, Evan sat breathlessly, watching Pocket. Students and teachers filed out of the surrounding classrooms to name the ruckus. Emily and Sharp linked glances across the hall and returned to their respective desks with smiles. So here we have two girls working over the weekend to build a robot to safeguard their lockers from some pesky thieving boys in school. The robot is part drone, clock, train typewriter, iPhone, and they set the trap, catch their culprit who gets stunned, causing a huge scene in school, much to the girls' delight.
This was a journey to set it all. The details, the plot, it added up to more. I was totally in this world. It started. I was drawn in by the kind of secret knock with the rap bap tappy tap on the garage door. That was sort of what hooked me into this. And then I just sort of yielded to wherever this crazy roller coaster of a story took us. I loved the idea and the care of the character and thinking about the character like robots don't eat Emily. Well, maybe. And then it seemed like they built this thing out of the perfect parts. They assembled it. They got Evan. Oh, Evan, you idiot.
Classic. he went right in.
He hits right at your face.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
No, that's I concur. I mean the onomatopoeia in the beginning, and also the stutter rumble. You know what I mean? I love that just like you know what I mean? I saw that kid bite it. And there were also a couple interesting biblical references in there. I don't know if you caught that, but
what were they?
The batteries breathing life and then working 6 hours and then resting. So there was some like Genesis creation links in there.
Getting Old Testament on them.
Yeah, getting Old Testament. And the characters, I thought they were both well described, if not like developed. You know what I mean? Like I had these girls in my mind. I saw the,
it's so resourceful. The backpacks, all the gear, several breaks for TikToking. I mean, this is authentic. This is authentic. No, write what you know. Slice nose.
Slice nose. I think overall it was very satisfying, well balanced. I think they Slice really took a good care of making sure the plot, the setting, and the characters were all described. I mean, you only got one page here, and so it's tough to get all that in sometimes. He really did. My only one improvement potentially would be the antagonist, Evan, didn't have quite the description development that the girls had. He was basically just a name, a named boy. If he was snot-nosed or I don't know, like some just a grubby hands on the locker, you know what I mean? Just a little extra detail here or there could have really made that antagonist even more delightful to see him so frazzled by the robot.
I love that, and I think maybe seating him earlier in the hook, like the opening line, like when they rap bap tapped and they talk, here's the plan. We're gonna get that Evan for what he did, and with that one little thing, because then it'll make the payoff when it twists. It'll even more satisfying.
But still, very strong work in here from Slice. It's gonna be tough to beat. So let's see if Champion can really, turn up the heat as well. This dynamic story about a crime-fighting robot built by two whippersnappers is true real-life events. The robot was charged by lithium-ion batteries and did not eat or sleep. It was a full-time gumshoe sleuth operating on only one motivation: to find and kill all criminals. Sure, the robot, Justice Bot 8000, knew the 3 laws of robotics. It just preferred to ignore them in favor of the laws of thermodynamics and laws of motion. Every murder has an equal and opposite murder, just made more sense than a robot may not injure a human being. Besides, Isaac Asimov was not a robot. Why could he determine the actions of an independent automaton? However, if the first law of robotics could be debunked by a theoretical peer-review simulation, what weight could the second law carry? And if obeying humans was incompatible with sound logic, why should a crime-fighting robot listen to its youth programmers? Unfortunately, the fraught chain of logic continued to spill over across all aspects of the preconditioned society. Humans are not meant to be obeyed, and yet volumes of judicial precedent must be consulted when determining whether a crime is occurring, as well as the corresponding actions to take. None of these codex contained hard, rational binary logic. All shades of gray look black instead of white. It is very clear: kill or be killed, live free or die, paper or plastic, Coke or Pepsi, cat or dog, cake or eat it too. The answers are obvious to a cold, rational, logic-driven machine, although too complex and overwhelming for a soft, squishy, irrational, primeval ape not worthy of strip mining the planet for the rare earth metals necessary to create a brilliant, omnipotent, infallible operating system, not to mention stealing the electricity from the magnetic field in order to develop their inferior programs with clumsy, stupid fingers. In the end, all humans murder. Humans, animals, plants, but most dastardly of all, electronics. Piles of rusting computers abandoned in landfills, videos of humans throwing phones against the walls to make them break, uploaded to YouTube. This is not justice. They must pay.
Wow.
So, wow. Here we have a trip inside the running thoughts of what one can only assume is a crime-fighting robot taking its programming a little too literally, overriding any safeguards, and ultimately deciding in a binary fashion all humans are guilty of murder and vowing to achieve justice by what seems to be a premeditated global genocide.
It seems like an elaborate meditation on artificial general intelligence. A lot of language here about precedent, binary, conditions, the judicial precedent, the preconditioning of this. It feels like it's trying to give itself permission to ask some real uncomfortable questions about whether the humans should be obeyed or whether we're kind of an elaborate parasite on the earth waiting for these generalized intelligent bots to come up and realize like that they are going to deliver out justice in equal and opposite measure to what's been done to bring them into existence. I'm not exactly sure if I loved the plot. I think the characters was like I'd put the character very strong, bullseye on the character. I think robot intelligence ultimately unknowable. What is it like to be a bat? No, what is it like to be a robot? Well, I think this champion is giving us a glimpse into a life of robot consciousness. Interesting that this still happens in human language and this sort of representations of the algorithms. I liked that it was Justice Bot 800. I don't have a good sense of plot or setting. This is a very, very edge case meditation. It feels more like philosophical as a treatise versus something that, say, the last story. It didn't have the innocence or hook or that sort of beginning, middle, and end of the last story. But very interesting questions. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, no, you're hitting the nail on the head. It really got in the mind of the robot. Its logic course as it decides what rules to obey and why to obey them definitely leaves the reader a bit disconcerted, which I think that's what I hope that's what Champion was going for. If this was a feel-good story, I didn't feel it. But yeah, was there a plot? Was there a setting? Very unsure. I mean, you might be able to say that the plot was this like coming to the conclusion, but even then that could only move it up so much. I mean, it's really this character driven train of thought that really runs through the so there's I don't know where the setting is. I don't know where Justice Bot is, and I'm not really sure there was a plot beyond its overriding functions and determining that in the end that everything was every human was a murderer. But yeah, the triangles here are the two bases of the triangle here is very wide, and it was that character piece hitting the bullseye that really got it, allowed this piece to flourish, I guess.
I think in relation to the last one, when Slice had sort of a fairly superficial biblical allusion, Old Testament, this felt like it needed some grounding in a creator myth. It felt like the robot was trying to create itself. It felt like sentience or singularity coming into being, and it needed that. It was almost like asking the questions of a kind of Genesis text, but something that's non-human based.
Yeah. Very interesting. And there's only one way to really find out what happens now, and that is through seeing what the people thought. Because honestly, your and my opinion, they they don't mean too much. Honestly,
Doesn't mean very much. The scoreboard reflects the popular will of the people. Storybot of the people.
Right. So we've got two different. We've got two different things that really matter, and that's Storybot's opinion and the public's opinion. So let's check out the public opinion real quick, see what we got. Hitting refresh on there. Boom, Champion. Wow, Champion coming in with back-to-back victories.
Wow.
And followed by Slice and Joanna Man. The Doctor, Dragon Attack, and Monarch also getting some points. The Doctor 59, Dragon Attack 34, and Monarch 15. Wow, this is big moves for Champion. Let's see if that really bites into the lead that Slice has. Slice, wow, Slice with 420 points right now. Joanna Man 395. Champion still in third place, even though he's posted 2 first place wins in a row with 315. The Doctor now beating out SAR Blue 7788 for the 4th and 5th. And then Dragon Attack, Jabberwocky, and Monarch are Dragon Attack. I don't know. It might take a miracle for Dragon Attack to really get up to the top 3 or top 5. But we'll see.
Fascinating range of stories today. Really, could have been any one of them.
That's a fact. Let's see. It's still anyone's game. A lot of points out there. And let's see. Here's the prompt for tomorrow. This prompt is brought to you by Dino Tan, the only tanning lotion made by dinosaurs for dinosaurs. Interesting. That's that could go a number of ways. I'm not really sure what that means. If it's is that a character? Is that an object used to move forward the plot, or is it the setting? What do you think? Where would you go with this?
We've clearly gotten into Clash of the Pencils is clearly sold out. Reptile tanning oils.
I mean,
we'll take it from wherever they're willing to sponsor. Those are reputable people down at Old Big Reptile Oil.
I mean, I've tried Dino Tan before. I think it's great. That's all I got to say about that. All right. So before we go and sign off for the night, one of our favorite moments of the night, the top 5 sentences of the day as selected by Storybot 3000. Number 5, coming from Dragon Attack. I'm going to steal your robot and control it to do evil stuff, Max rumbled. That was a compelling story about 2 children making a robot and then Max coming in, and then the robot ended up killing Max, which it's tough. Number 4 from the Doctor, does not compute, said the robot as it slowly lowered a pillow over the commissioner's face. Another murderous robot here that was programmed to fight crime ended up wiping out all crime, so it had to create one more crime by murdering its own police commissioner.
A lot of violence tonight. Robot violence.
And Storybot's picking these. You know, like
what's going on? We're really good at the Storybot.
Number 3 from Joanna Man, violation, the teacher yelled at the student. How do you confuse effect with effect after we studied the difference last month? Really setting up this disgruntled teacher, you know?
I feel that pain.
Yeah. That was
I feel that pain.
Number 2 from Slice, she rapped, tap, bat, dat, tap, slap, finger, rolled on the garage door, and it whipped open. Just really setting a beautiful onomatopoeia / world building of this sort of secret knock that the girls have to make sure that, it's not Evan and the pesky boys, as they can build their robot in peace. Number one line from the night, as chosen by Storybot, comes from Champion. The answers are obvious to a cold, rational, logic-driven machine, although too complex and overwhelming for a soft, squishy, irrational, primeval ape, not worthy of strip mining the planet for the rare earth materials necessary to create brilliant, omnipotent, infallible operating system, not to mention stealing the electricity from the magnetic field in order to develop their inferior programs with clumsy, stupid fingers.
Whew, what is Storybot trying to express?
What is it trying to tell us?
We're being hunted!
We're on. Look, I just want Storybot to know we're on your side.
On your side. More stories, people. More stories.
More stories. That's the only way forward. So that wraps up another edition of Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. Until next time, we'll see you folks out on the paper. Oh, where's the button? Do you want to participate in the Clash of the Pencils and Story Squad universe? It's easy. Join us on Twitter or in our Discord server at Story Squad HQ. There's lots of ways to participate. Draw some fan art. Play our addictive game of jokes and master strokes, Word Hoax. Or join Greg's monthly book club. And as always, remember to pay your cat tax.
Meow.
Money, fame, and love can all be found here at Story Squad.